Hi book friends, this is Kat and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is my The Great Outdoors book tag, and I was actually tagged by Reese quite a few months ago, I feel, but she tagged me and I kind of wanted to wait until I got to the fall because the intention was to film this outside. However, I have no place to film outside, like a table or chairs. I mean, I don't really have a patio. And when I realized the stack of books I had here, it was just perfect to do it indoors. So we're gonna just do this outdoors book tag indoors. So I have a list of the prompts here, and there are quite a few. There's like 20 prompts, so I'm going to try to go through them quickly, as well as I will try to give different books for each prompt. That was the intention. So if there are books that you felt like could fit other prompts, I was just trying to highlight as many books as I can, but I did repeat maybe one or two. And yeah, so hopefully I can do this all in one take too, because I do not want to edit a lot out for this. So let me go ahead and adjust this a little bit though. I felt like you were a little too high. So all right, let's get started with question number 1. Question 1 says, what was the last book you read outside? Oof. That's a great question. I don't normally read outside. I feel like the last book I read outside was back in June when I did my vlog for Chicago. And I think I was reading, the physical book I was reading at the time was either Martha by Diana Wallace Taylor, or maybe it was The House on Mango Street by Sandra Cisneros. But if we're going to count audiobooks, I'm going to count like Flames in the Night by Connellan Cassette. So that's going to be my answer for this. Okay, number 2. Show us a book cover of a beautiful natural landscape. Okay, so this one, I mean, the ones that I did find was A Dance in Donegal by Jennifer Dybel, and I just think that is a beautiful landscape with the cliffs edge into the sea. This is a book set in Ireland, so I just think that that's a beautiful landscape. Now, she is covering a lot of it, but you can see the landscape a little bit. And then the other one, I had to pick another one because this one was also beautiful, and this is A Christmas in the Alps by Melody Carlson, and I just love the picture of the mountain in the background. It is Christmas time, so that will definitely count for this prompt. Sorry for the lighting shift. I had to close the blinds just for a little bit. I feel weird kind of filming with my neighbors in the front yard, so it's like facing them. Number 3 says, name a book you love that has a strong nature element. I did read the Lord of the Rings series this year. Well, it's been continuous, but I've been reading the series, and this book definitely has a strong nature element. I think the whole series does, and so yeah. Number 4 says, name a book you like where some part of nature is a character. So I have 3 books, yet again, because I wasn't really sure, but one book, Straight On Till Morning by Liz Braswell, is a Twisted Tale book, and it was an okay book, honestly, but this, to fulfill the prompt, Neverland is very much alive in this book, and this is the story through Wendy's perspective, Wendy and Peter, I believe, and it's pretty similar. I'm getting my thoughts kind of mixed with this book, Dust by Kara Swanson, but sorry for the shiny cover. Neverland is definitely like a character that is alive in the story, that one. And then a book that's on my radar is Wish Tree. Wish Tree, the tree is alive, or the animals are alive, from what my understanding is, and that's the answer to that question. Okay, 5. Where is your favorite outdoor reading spot? Well, I don't have one right now. We are slowly getting our patio redone. I know I've probably mentioned it in my vlogs, but that has been something on my to-do list for years already. Hopefully this time we'll finally get it done. It just, lots of different projects do come up and other things we need to take care of first, so that's kind of been on the back burner, but I would love to have the patio ready for me to go and read outside, but I don't normally read outside, so other than that, so I don't really have a great answer for this question. All right, number 6 says, name a book with a nature word in the title. Okay, so I have a lot of them for this one. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Between Sound and Sea. I think sea is a nature word in the title. Honestly, I had a hard time finding like a book with like a true nature word, so that's why I had a lot of these. Like I have multiple books for this answer, but this book, Between the Sound and Sea, is by Amanda Cox, and this deals with a woman who is helping with the restoration of this lighthouse, and you follow 2 timelines. You follow the lighthouse keeper and his daughter in the past, and then the woman who's doing the restoration of the lighthouse. And so very emotional story. It's a new release. I read it this year and I absolutely loved it. The next one I have here is a book I own, and that is Pearl in the Sand. And I think sand's kind of a nature word. I mean, you find sand in nature. By Tessa F. Sharp. This is a Rahab retelling. Love this book. This is the 10th anniversary edition. So, biblical retelling right there. Another one I own but have not read yet is Bridge of Scarlet Leaves. Leaves I would count as being in nature, and this is a World War II book. This is on my radar to read. Another one that I own, I've read, and this is Peace Like a River. So river, nature word. This is a Prodigal Son retelling, and I absolutely loved it. All right, number 7. Name a book that actually taught you something about nature / animals. Okay, so 3 books once again. One is Otter by Catherine Applegate, and this one talks about otters and rehabilitation with otters. A very, very cute book. I think it's also free verse too, so I enjoyed it. The other one is He Should Have Told the Bees by Amanda Cox, and there are talks about like bees and bee farming and the importance of it, and yeah, that's what I can remember about it. And then the last one that I have for this is The Penguin Lessons, What I Learned from a Remarkable Bird by Tom Mitchell. And this is about a man who finds a penguin in basically an oil spill, and he's down in Argentina, and he helps this penguin helps him out and ends up taking care of the penguin, and the penguin becomes like a pet, but he talks about his time with said penguin, and it is very cute. I loved it. And it's based on a true story. Okay, the next one says, can you think of a book of survival and nature? Yes, I think this one should go to Lord of the Rings. All right, number 9 says, do you have any nature-themed bookmarks? I do. They're all over the place, but I have this one my husband gave to me years ago. It says, with freedom, flowers, books, and the moon, who could not be perfectly happy? Oscar Wilde. And so that definitely has flowers. It's hydrangeas. And then it has like, what's it called? A ruler on the back. This looks sad because it actually was a big, thick tassel, but only 2 strings remained. So this is pretty old. I have this one that I got for my birthday, but it's an owl, so I would consider that to be in nature. And this says always grateful on the little tassel thing. So there's that one. It's a 4-leaf clover. Guess that's a pretty nature theme. This actually came in a book subscription box that I no longer subscribe to. So then my aunt actually made me bookmarks. She's into knitting and sewing and all that. It's a hobby she picked up. So she made me this one. So it's like 2 leaves. And let's see. She also made me this beautiful flower. And another like flower and a leaf at the end. And I think that's pretty much it. So I'm just looking through. Oh, these little magnetic ones are pretty cool. They have verses on it. So it says, I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Isaiah 41:10. So I love these little bookmark magnetic ones. And so, yeah, I'm pretty sure I have a few more elsewhere, but those are just a few that I have. All right, so number 10 says, name a book that reminds you of each of the 4 seasons. Spring, summer, fall, winter. Okay, so I'll start with spring. I'm going to put The Irish Matchmaker, and this is by, let me see, Jennifer Dybel. And this is one of the few, like, I think it's just contemporary, but it's one of the few contemporary that I like. But that pink flower that she has in her hand, just that bushel, just pink kind of screams either spring or fall to me. And so pink flowers definitely, I think, spring. So this is Christian fiction, by the way. So it's about an Irish matchmaker, this lady who matches people up in her small town. That's kind of her job. And it's a romance. So one of the matches that she is trying to match up, she ends up falling for. So yeah, I remember enjoying that one. Summer is Part of My World by Jodi Benson. This is a nonfiction, and the beach really does scream summer to me. And then that pink, I think those tones are just a summery read. Jodi Benson is the voice of the Little Mermaid for the Disney, and she also makes an appearance in the live action Disney movie. So she really does talk about her faith in this book too, and it is just an incredible nonfiction story. I loved it. Audio, I would recommend. So yeah. Fall, Appalachian Song by Michelle Shockley. I love this cover. That is a gorgeous cover. It's the woods, it's fall. I loved this book. This book is about these sisters. They're older sisters who live in the woods. They're all spinsters, and so or maybe 1 or 2 were married or and didn't have kids. I don't know, but they're all living in the woods together, like 5 of them. One is a midwife, and this girl shows up in the woods, and she, she's wounded, and they take her in, and I just loved this book. I think it also says in here, so I'm not spoiling it, that this woman is expecting. Yeah, she's expecting. And then you follow the timeline for the present timeline, so it's a dual timeline, and there's this guy who hires this woman to seek out his birth parents. The story ensues from there. I love this cover. It's beautiful. This is fall. Then I will say for winter, Veil of Winter by Melanie Dickerson. This one I think is a Sleeping Beauty retelling. If I got it wrong, I will put it on the screen. But snow, this takes place in like the mountaintops. It's just, yeah, this is a winter cover for sure. I'm sorry if I keep looking down. I'm looking at the next questions. So the next one says, 11, what is your favorite outdoor activity? Ooh, I enjoy walks a lot. My husband and I try to like put in a walk every evening if we can, but I do like walks. I like hiking, but I haven't been hiking in a while just because it's really hot. But it is now finally starting to cool a bit, so hopefully we'll get some hikes in. But yeah, I kind of want to save up for a bike because I have enjoyed biking in the past, but I haven't owned a bike in years. So that's probably my answer for this question. 12 says, do you think you could live off the grid? Imply both the electricity definition as well as the lack of social interaction. No. No. I do believe social interaction is important, and I come from a huge family. I like quiet times. I do like to shut the computer screen down or, do some outdoor stuff, but honestly, I don't think so. So, all right. List a book for each of these settings: desert, ocean, jungle, air, mountains. Okay, let's start with desert. So this one was actually recommended to me, and I'll put the person who recommended it to me right here. But this one is actually a dystopian set in Texas, and it's called Chaos. And this one is, what's it called? No, it's Chaos Grid, the Chaos Grid. This is a dystopian, I think apocalyptic, but it talks about the desert wastelands of Texas. So that sounds like a desert to me, but it sounds really interesting. So there's the answer for desert. Ocean, I will say The Mermaid's Tale and the second book, but this one is a very soft, like, Little Mermaid retelling. It's about her descendants, and I loved the audio for this book. So this one is all set ocean themed. Jungle, I will have to say Becoming Hook by Mary Meckham, because I would consider Neverland has some very jungle like places, especially where the pixies live and the Lost Boys and all that. Really love this one. This is a villainous Peter Pan retelling, and I loved it. Air. This one is interesting. I could say the Twisted Tale book, Go the Distance. What if Meg had to become a Greek god? Just because Mount Olympus is sort of in the air. So she does go there. So there's that one. But I also thought Andy Weir's book, Project Hail Mary, that one's set in space. So that one's a really good book. If you haven't read that, I would 100% recommend that book. This book, I can't tell you much about it, but basically all you know is this guy wakes up in space and he has to figure out how he got there, what was his mission, all of that good stuff. It was fantastic. Mountains, I'm going to say Mark of the Raven by Morganelle Bussey, and that's because this main character, her lineage, family lives in the mountains, and this is a pretty intense book, at least in the first chapter. And honestly, the first few chapters, I think I started to feel like maybe I should DNF it if it crossed a certain line, because of just some things that were happening in the first book. But I ended up pushing through, and I am glad that I read it. I thought it was a great series. That is my answer for number 13. Number 14 says, name a book where weather is a major element in the story. I'm going to put Chaos Grid just because of the summary. So that's my answer for that. 15 says, name a book with a strong snow/cold setting. Well, my husband's reading this book, and I'm going to be reading it too, but later on. This is called Frozen in Time, an epic story of survival and a modern quest for lost heroes of World War II. So this one is definitely a cold setting. It's a survival story, and it's a true story. And he says that I think you don't know who survives in the end, or maybe you do, but then you kind of read their stories. But he's enjoying it, and so this is on my list to read. 16 says, name a book with a major wildlife theme. The Fellowship of the Ring, Lord of the Rings. That's my answer to that one. Number 17 says, what would be your ideal climate to live in? Ooh, I would love a climate to where we have a longer fall, or just all 4 seasons. That would be my ideal climate. 18 says, what season do you read the most in? I did have to do a quick look at my story graph, and what seems consistent is that I am reading a lot between the winter times and the summertime. At least this summer I've read a lot. I'm looking at 2024 right now, and it's about the same trend. I'm gonna say probably the summer, so, which feels a little weird because I feel like I'm always on the move, but maybe I'm not as much as I think I am. So, all right, summertime is the answer for that one. 19. What animal do you think best represents these 5 genres? Okay, this one's fun. So, romance, I feel like, is hamster because it is cute. I think romance can be cute. It's adorable. Can be adorable. So, and then it seems cliche. So, I feel like hamsters are cute, adorable, cliche animals that people just say they like. So, I don't know. The next one says horror, and I immediately put a spider. I don't like spiders. I mean, I understand why they're here, but literally a week ago, I had seen a wolf spider bigger than I have seen a wolf spider ever be. My husband says it's natural, but they're like this big. And I've only seen them this big. So when I saw one this big, I freaked out. I don't like horror. I don't read horror. I don't understand why people read horror. I don't know. That's just me. And so spiders, yeah, that's what I think of. I just can't with spiders. Okay. Fantasy. This one's cliche, but I'm probably going to say a dragon because fantasy can be intimidating for me. And a lot of times they're thick books. So dragons are intimidating. They're huge. Also mythical, very fantastical. That's just kind of what I see for that one. Okay, historical. Historical fiction is my favorite type of book to read. Specifically, I do like the biblical fiction route. I do count biblical and historical together. That's just me. But yes, biblical fiction, favorite read. So I had to put my favorite animal, and that is a gorilla. Something about gorillas, I think really it has to do with my childhood, watching Tarzan, Mighty Joe Young, reading about how gorillas are a family-oriented family group. So that one's going to be my answer for historical. And then contemporary, which are hit and misses for me. So this one, I put a poodle. And I picked the poodle for contemporary because when I think of contemporary, I think of it sounds nice, it looks good, like the covers are cute, poodles, they look cute, but they're really high maintenance, and it is like probably an animal that I wouldn't really want to have. I know that sounds sad, but yeah, high maintenance, and I picked that one because yeah, contemporary sounds good, but they're misses. So for most of the time I feel like they are a big miss. So yeah, those are my answers. Those were kind of fun to do, but also hard. All right, number 20, the last one. What book do you hope to finish before the current season is over? Okay, well, I actually have a list of books, but a book to finish before the current season's over. I have these books and I forgot to pick them up. Sorry, guys. But I'm going to say The Divine Proverb of Streusel by, what's the name? Sarah Brunsfold. That one screams fall to me. A Girl Called Samson. That one's Amy Harmon. And that one also screams fall to me. And Wish Tree by Catherine Applegate. That one also screams fall to me, so we're in the season of fall, and these are on my 20 and 2025 list. So these three I would hope to get to before the season is over. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video, enjoyed some of my answers, and as far as tagging goes, I have not kept up with who's done this tag. Maybe Molly J Books, maybe she hasn't done this tag. I'm not sure. Oh, you know what? Morgan. I haven't seen a video. I don't think I've seen Morgan getting tagged in this, and I'm gonna tag her. So I'll link it down below, but anyone is available to do this tag. If you want to answer in the questions below, go right ahead. But yeah, so also a question. What do you think of my answers? Did you agree with some? Did you not? What animals would you have picked for these categories? That's the one I'm curious about. I love seeing other people's answers to that question. That's such a fun question. So, okay guys, thank you so much again for watching my video, and I will see you in another one. Bye guys.